Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Creative Adventures. I'm working on a really fun new project today, something I've never done before, something completely new to me, but it's a project that I will be using later on for a batch of soap that I'm making. I want to do a black raspberry vanilla batch of soap, and I want to make some little raspberry embeds to go on the top of it, but I want them to look like actual raspberries, and I want them to all be unique. I don't want them to be exactly cookie cutter the same. And sure, I could have ordered a mold for this. They have tons of them on Etsy, but they're pretty expensive, and I thought it would be fun to try to make a mold myself anyway. It's a good little skill to have because I could use molds like this for lots of things. I could make my own chocolate molds for my cake business. I could make my own fondant and gum paste molds. There's lots of different things I can do with the ability to make a silicone mold myself. So I thought this would be a perfect chance to give it a shot, because this is not for a cake order, this is just me wanting to experiment, so no pressure. So I've got quite a few supplies already laid out. I've got a newspaper here just to cover my work surface. This is a foam core board, an 11 by 14 foam core board. It's an 1/8 of an inch thick. I just bought a 10 pack of these on Amazon because I thought they would make a good, nice, sturdy surface for building my mold on. And then over here I've got a few pieces of cardboard that I just cut from an old box that I'm going to use for the sides of my mold. I just kind of eyeballed the height because, well, raspberries are not very tall and I don't need a very big mold. I'm not sure yet if I'm going to try to do 12 raspberries in here or if I'm going to do 18, because I do have a new 18 bar mold that I just got from Brambleberry. So I might try to fit 18 raspberries in here. I only have one box of silicone mold mix and I'm not quite sure how much it's going to make, so I'm staying on the small side for this. So I cut my cardboard pieces to the length necessary to cover 1/4 of this board. Other supplies I have here, I have my hot glue gun. I will need that for assembling my sides and attaching them to my foam core. The hot glue actually also acts as a barrier to keep the silicone from seeping out onto the table. I've got some other glue sticks off to the side just in case I need them. Of course, I've got the item that I want to mold, which is a pack of raspberries, and I'm going to do my best to find the nicest looking ones in the bunch. I also have a big measuring cup. I'm going to use this as my mixing container. Ideally, I would use a disposable plastic cup, but I don't have any. But when the silicone cures, it should pull right out of that measuring cup. I don't use that measuring cup in my kitchen, by the way. That is strictly a measuring cup that I use for soap making and other crafting, so it should be fine. And then finally, or at least I think finally, if I might realize I need other supplies later on, and if I do, I'll bring those up. But for now, I've got my silicone. So I purchased this off of Amazon. I did a bunch of looking around for different brands of silicone mold making, and this one is just the one that kept popping up and it was the most readily available. So this is from the company called Smooth On. You can get it from their website, Amazon, lots of different retailers online. And this is the liquid rubber kit. It does make a silicone flexible mold when you are finished. This is a 3-pound kit. I did not see this in any other size. So I wish you could get a bigger batch of this at once, but this is all I could find. So we'll see how it goes. This is supposed to be really, really easy to work with. It comes in 2 separate containers. Just go ahead and pull it out of the box. As you can see, they both say stir well before using on the top. They both say store and use at room temperature. But there is no weighing necessary. This is a 1-to-1 mix ratio, so I'm just going to be using my measuring cup to very easily measure these out to mix them, because it can be done by volume. So it's just a 1-to-1 mix. Once you pour your 2 components into your measuring cup, you want to be sure you mix them very thoroughly. One of these is colored, and that helps you determine it once your mixture is perfectly mixed, because you shouldn't have any streaks left in it. But it does specifically say to mix for 3 minutes, so that's what we're going to do. I'm going to try to figure out how much I actually need to mix up ahead of time. Once I get my little box here assembled, I'm going to grab some rice and pour that into my mold, and then dump that into my measuring cup to see if I can figure out about how much volume-wise I will need of my silicone mixture. So let's get started on creating our box sides. First thing I'm going to do is, do that side of it, is actually glue the sides of my box together. I'm gonna nice good bead all the way down. And I'm actually gonna set that onto the, I hate hot glue. I get this stuff everywhere, including on my fingers. Hold those two sides together so they get a nice good seal. Add a bead on this side. And then I'm just going to add a bead down both of these sides. I don't know why I'm trying to do this left-handed, because I'm not left-handed. Perfecto. Easy peasy. Now we just need to glue this down to our foam core board. So I'm gonna flip it over so that I have my perfectly leveled sides up. I'm gonna add a bead of hot glue all the way around. Try to work quickly so it doesn't set up before you finish. And of course I ran out. So I'm gonna go ahead and flip that over and I'll do the next round on the outside of my box here. Alright, I'm gonna add another stick of hot glue here. And then I'm going to run a bead right around the bottom edge. And I think I might do that all the way around, just to make double sure none of my silicone seeps out around the edges. Now, if you have like old Tupperware containers, like the cheap disposable kind, another good thing to do is cut the bottom off of one of those and use it as your sides. It's usually a really good side for a mold, or a really good size for a mold like this. And it makes this process a lot easier than actually building your own box here. Okay, that looks pretty good. Doesn't have to be anything perfect or fancy, but we are secure. I don't think anything is seeping out of that. Now I'm going to get some rice, dump it in here to the level that I think I need to fill this mold up to, and pour that into my measuring cup, and that way we can measure, hopefully, measure what the volume will be. All right, let's see. That right there is probably pretty close. I'm gonna call it at that, because we will also be taking up some of that space with the actual raspberries that we're molding. So now we'll take our measuring cup, hopefully pour this in without making too much of a mess. Okay, 2.5 cups. Now that we have measured our volume, we can go ahead and add our raspberries to the bottom of the mold. Let's see, I'm gonna try it first to see how many I can actually fit. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Perfecto. Now I just need to go through and secure each of these all the way around the edge of it with some hot glue. Now, our raspberries are secured to the bottom of our little makeshift form here. So I'm gonna set that aside for now, get my measuring cup back out, and now we can start mixing our silicone. I've got a couple of popsicle sticks here, and I'm gonna use those just to mix it up with. And we need 2.5 cups, so we need 1 1/4 of each of our components. So this is part A, and we do need to stir this before we use it. I'm just gonna take my popsicle stick here and give it a good stir. And yes, I should probably be wearing gloves, but no, I'm not. Part B. Same as before, we're gonna give this a good stir. All right, part A going in. We're going to pour in 1 1/4 cups, assuming we have that much. I sure hope we do. Use my little toothpick, or my popsicle stick here, to kind of scrape off the excess back into my container. And this stuff is stringy. And then we're gonna take part B. and do the same thing. Filling it up to 2.5. We still have enough, I think, for a small mold. All right. Let's get to mixing. This should be a nice purple color, no streaks. And I'm gonna set my timer over here for 3 minutes. And we will stir, stir, stir. There goes our timer. As you can see, we've got a nice uniform purple color. I'm gonna move this out of the way now that I've gotten it all messy. Bring my mold back over, and we're gonna pour. Now, the instructions say it's best to pour in one spot, slowly and evenly, and let the silicone mixture find its own level and fill in all the spaces around what you're trying to mold. So I'm going to try to pour from one corner and then just let it fill in around our raspberries. And I've got some there that did not mix all the way, so I'm gonna go grabbed another popsicle stick, because right at the bottom where I couldn't quite reach, it doesn't appear to have mixed all the way. Well, I sure hope that mixture on top actually settles all the way, or cures all the way, because I definitely did not mix well enough down on the bottom of this container. Honestly, I was just having a hard time reaching with that small popsicle stick. Lesson learned. I'm trying to just scrape as much of this silicone in here as I can, because I want to make sure I have a nice solid bottom, because you know the top that you're seeing here will actually be the bottom of my mold. So I want to make sure I have enough actually covering those raspberries so that it has enough a nice solid bottom there. So there is our filled container. Here's hoping that that actually sets up properly. Now, these instructions say that this will cure in about 6 hours. So I won't be able to test this out until I get home from work tomorrow. So I'm just going to go set this in my craft room, and we will be back tomorrow afternoon to take a look at the finished product, and hopefully it sets up. All right, guys, it's the moment of truth. I'm not real sure what the best way to unmold this thing is. I think I'm going to slice around the bottom here and detach it from this foam core board, and then detach it from the sides. Yeah, let's try that. You know what? Never mind. I'm gonna cut down the sides. Yeah, I think this is actually gonna be easier. Just peeling the sides away. Awesome. Nice. So there's the top. Next thing I need to do is kind of trim away these little bits here where the silicone seeped down into the edge of the raspberries. There's only a few of them that did that. So I just need to trim that away. And now I'm going to just go rinse it out and get all of those raspberries out of the mold, and then we can take a look at the cavity and then make some melt and pour up color and actually pour some in. So there we have our finished mold. I've gotten it all cleaned up and dried it out, and I don't know if you can see the detail in that thing, but it is so detailed that I'm actually concerned this isn't even gonna work. I had a hell of a time getting all of the raspberry pieces out of the inside of this, and in fact I don't even know that I got it all out, so I don't know, this thing is super detailed on the inside, which is good, but I guess the best way to find out if it's gonna work is to just give it a shot. The next soap that I wanna make is a black raspberry vanilla, so let's try to make some raspberry embeds and see how it works. So this is just some clear melt and pour that I've already melted down. I may or may not have enough of it, I'm not sure. And this is just some strawberry red liquid color. I got this from Wholesale Supplies Plus. So we're just gonna add this. I've never worked with the liquid color before, but it's supposed to work really well in melt and pour. So we're just gonna add it a drop or two at a time. That's perfect. It's like a really purpley red color, which is exactly what I was wanting. But I want it to be fairly dark. So let's go ahead and add another drop of that. This doesn't look like strawberry red to me at all. But I did a whole lot of looking online and looking at color swatches, and this looked to be the closest that I was going for, which was more of a purplish red. And we're not fragrancing these embeds at all. They're so small, there's really no need. Okay, we're almost there. I honestly want this to be even darker. Like, I want it to be almost black. I'm gonna go ahead and add 3 more drops. Oh, and I should say this is called stained glass strawberry red, not just strawberry red. That's a really pretty color. You can see on the spoon that it's almost a purple color, which is exactly what I was wanting. I still think I want it a tad bit darker though. Okay, I'm gonna add 2 more drops and then that's it. Okay, no more. And since we're not trying to layer this or anything, we can go ahead and pour it hot. So here goes nothing. Now these will take at least a couple of hours to harden up. I may or may not be able to unmold these later tonight. It's about 7 o'clock right now, so it's iffy. If I can't get them unmolded tonight, we'll come back tomorrow and take a look at the finished product. All right, you guys, moment of truth. It has been about 2.5 hours and the tops of these seem to be hard enough to unmold them. And in fact, I was able to pretty easily pull away all of that excess that I had dribbled on top. It just peeled right off. So I popped one of them out and it's perfect. Look at my little raspberry. I am so stinking pleased. These are gonna be so cute on top of my little black raspberry vanilla soaps. I cannot wait to make this soap now. I'm so excited. All right, let me get all of the rest of these popped out of these molds and we'll take a look at the whole set. Here they are. I had to do a little bit of cleanup on them because I obviously did not get all of the gunk out of the mold initially. So pouring the soap was probably the best method of cleaning this thing. So some of them had some little actual raspberry seeds stuck in them, but I've got them all picked out and cleaned up now. Here's what the mold looks like now that it's all cleaned up. Super detailed. Some of these even have the little hairs from the raspberries on them. Like, I don't know if you'll be able to see them, but there's actually little hair things sticking out of them. It's amazing. I am so excited about this. I am so stinking excited. These are so cute. Oh, they're so cute, guys. They are so cute. I cannot wait to put these on soap. Cannot wait. I'm so excited. Okay, well, that's all for this episode. The next soap that I make is probably going to be that black raspberry vanilla. And I'm thinking I'm going to use my new 18 bar slab mold from Brambleberry and do a little dollop, do some kind of a pretty like purplish swirl in that soap and do a little dollop of whipped soap frosting on top of each bar and then top it off with one of these little raspberries. That's what I'm thinking. We'll see. That'll be coming up soon. But I hope you enjoyed watching me try this new project where I used silicone to make a mold of some actual objects out of my refrigerator and then use that mold to turn it into little tiny raspberry soaps. Super, super cool. So yeah, if you enjoyed this, subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and if you have any comments or suggestions for future projects, let me know down below because I'd love to hear from you. So until next time on Creative Adventures,